I dare you to listen to this story until the end. But be warned, when it's over, you may never sleep peacefully again. What would you do if something invisible watched you every night? And what if you woke up with deep scratches, not knowing who or what did it? This isn't a movie. This is real. Welcome to the Sally House, where fear takes form. Tony and Debra Pickman were excited. A new beginning, a charming Victorian house in the quiet town of Atchison, Kansas. A peaceful neighborhood, a beautiful facade. It seemed perfect, but there was one detail that nobody told them, and that omission almost cost them their lives. On the very first night, small things felt wrong. Strange sounds, a strong burning smell coming from nowhere. But maybe it was just their imagination, right? A few days later, Tony noticed tiny footprints, child-sized, in the dust of the hallway. There were only 2 of them in the house, no kids. Lights started flickering, objects moved on their own, and very faint voices, whispering, calling their names, echoed through the house late at night. And the laughter of a little girl always came at exactly 3 a.m. On the 4th night, Tony woke up with a sharp, burning pain in his arm. When he turned on the light, he went pale. 3 deep, bloody scratches ran across his forearm, like invisible claws had ripped through his skin. The room was freezing, despite it being summer, and when he looked into the mirror, behind him, something moved, a small silhouette of a child. From that moment, terror became routine. Doors slammed violently, pictures fell off the walls, black shadows darted across the hallway. Debra woke up gasping. Something heavy was sitting on her chest, crushing, suffocating. They were being watched, but not just watched, hunted. What if I told you that to this day, people who just hear this story report strange dreams and eerie sensations inside their own homes? Would you still have the courage to continue? Then stay, if you dare, because now it gets much worse. On the 7th night, they saw her, a little girl, pale, maybe 6 years old, dressed in old-fashioned clothes from the 19th century. She stood, frozen, in the corner of their bedroom, staring directly at Tony. But her face was wrong, burned, disfigured, hollow eyes, cracked skin, and a smile so wide, so unnatural, it didn't seem human. Tony tried to move, but his body wouldn't respond. An invisible force pinned him to the bed. Scratches started appearing on his chest, arms, legs. He felt claws, but there was nothing there. The room was ice cold, and the sound was laughter, mixed with crying, both childlike and demonic. At dawn, they packed up and left, checked into a hotel, but the phenomena followed them. Lights flickered in the hotel room. The phone rang, but on the other end, only heavy, raspy breathing. And on their hotel room door, 3 deep scratch marks carved into the wood. Desperate, they called a team of paranormal investigators. During filming, cameras were thrown to the ground, batteries drained within seconds, and on the recordings, a voice, a slow, cruel whisper, "Get out, get out." In the middle of the session, one of the investigators was violently thrown against the wall, right in front of everyone.
Scratches began appearing visibly across the investigator's back. 3 long, deep red marks, tearing his skin open, as if invisible hands were clawing him, slowly, mercilessly. Panic filled the air, and the smell, the unbearable stench of burnt flesh, consumed the house. If you're still here, be careful, because many say listening to this story is like opening a door, and not every door closes again. You have 2 choices now: leave or discover what truly lives inside the Sallie house. Digging into historical records, they uncovered the truth. In the 19th century, a little girl named Sally died during an emergency surgery. With no anesthesia, she screamed, begged, and died, choking on her own pain. The theory? Sally's spirit never forgave, and over time, something much darker latched on to her presence. It wasn't just Sally anymore. It was something infinitely worse. Even after moving out, Tony kept waking up covered in scratches. Voices came through the phone, doors slammed in the middle of the night. They realized it wasn't the house that was haunted, it was him. The entity had chosen him, and wherever he went, it followed. If you think this is just a story, think again. There are thousands of reports. People who heard this tale and started having nightmares, seeing shadows, hearing footsteps inside their own homes. Because some stories aren't just meant to be heard, they're meant to be summoned. Now that you know the truth, you have a choice. Pretend none of this is real, or accept that the world is much darker than you ever imagined. Subscribe if you dare to know more. But be careful, because once you hear Sally's whispers, you will never, ever sleep peacefully again.